Have you ever laid awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every kiss, every promise, wondering, was it all fake? Did she love me, or was I just convenient, a placeholder until someone better came along? If that question has haunted you, even once, then this video could change how you approach love for the rest of your life. Before we dive in, take a second to subscribe and like the video, not for vanity, but because the lessons we explore here are designed to make you emotionally bulletproof. Watch until the end, and because recognizing these signs early could save you from years of pain, regret, and wasted love. Let's begin with a story. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." In the world of love, insanity isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers, it smiles, it wears perfume, and sometimes it calls you baby. Let me tell you about a man named Cassius, not a gladiator, not a general, just an ordinary man with an extraordinary heart. He met her at a bookstore, her laugh magnetic, her touch electric. But as weeks turned into months and months into confusion, something felt off. Today we'll break down the 6 signs she was using you, through Cassius's story, and through the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. 1. Her attention was transactional, not emotional. Do you remember the first time she looked at you like you were the only man in the room? Maybe it was the way she leaned in when you spoke. Maybe it was the way her eyes lit up when you made her laugh. In those moments, didn't it feel magical? Like destiny finally showed up wearing her perfume? That's exactly how Cassius felt. He met her on a rainy evening, under an old cafe awning. Her book fell, he picked it up, and the universe seemed to pause. She smiled like she'd known him in a past life. And for the first few weeks, she was all in. Late-night calls, good morning texts, compliments that warmed his chest. She even told her friends, he's different. He gets me. But then something shifted. Not all at once. Not like a door slamming shut. More like a dimmer switch, slowly turning the lights down. Her attention became earned, not given. She only praised him when he did something for her. When he surprised her with takeout, she'd kiss his cheek and whisper, "You're the best." When he paid her phone bill that one month, "I don't know what I'd do without you." But the days he didn't show up with something in hand, she'd barely respond to his texts. She was too busy, too tired, too distracted. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you had to earn someone's love just to keep it? Like their affection came with invisible receipts? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambition." Cassius didn't realize it at the time, but his ambition had become her comfort. She wasn't falling in love with him. She was falling in love with what he could do for her. And here's the painful truth. Many of us ignore this sign. Why? Because we crave those early moments. We chase the memory of love, not the reality staring us in the face. He told himself, she's just stressed. She's not a materialistic person, she's just going through a tough time. She used to be so loving. But that's how manipulation works. It hooks you with sweetness and feeds you with silence until you beg. So I ask you, look at your own story. Was she kind? Only when she needed something? Did her love feel more like a reward system than a sanctuary? Because love, true love, doesn't need payment. It shows up without keeping score. And if her attention is always tied to your actions, your gifts, your favors, you're not in a relationship. You're in a contract. One she can break anytime but expects you to honor. Brother, love should feel like peace, not performance. She disrespected your time but demanded your loyalty. Have you ever found yourself clearing your entire day for her? Canceling plans, rushing home, leaving the gym halfway, all because she said, "I need to talk," or "Let's hang out tonight." And then she didn't even show up? Cassius did that more times than he could count. One weekend he spent hours planning something special. He booked a quiet cabin in the hills, fresh air, a fire pit, stargazing. He packed her favorite snacks, made a playlist of songs that reminded him of her, and even wrote a letter she would never read. She canceled the trip that morning. No call, just a text. "Hey babe, sorry, last-minute plans with my cousin. We'll go another time." Another time never came. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." But she said things all the time. I miss you. I want us to grow. I can't wait for the future. And yet her actions always betrayed her words. You see, Cassius didn't just give her love. He gave her time, his most sacred, non-refundable asset. Time he could have spent on his passions, time he could have spent with family, building his future, building himself. Instead, he spent it waiting, chasing, hoping. But when he needed her, when his father fell ill, when he got promoted, when he wanted her to show up at a work event, she had other plans. She was feeling drained. She needed space. And yet, she always expected his loyalty. When she was overwhelmed with work, she wanted him available. When she had a fight with her friend, she expected him to listen for hours. When she was lonely, she'd text at 2 a.m., and God forbid he didn't reply right away. Have you ever had that feeling? Where your time was always up for negotiation, but hers was off limits? Let me hit you with the truth. If someone repeatedly disrespects your time, they don't respect you, because time is attention. Time is sacrifice. Time is love. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't waste what remains of your life on what others think of you. Cassius didn't realize it then, but he wasn't being loved. He was being used as a safety net, pulled in when she needed comfort, ignored when she wanted freedom. Love that only shows up when it's convenient isn't love, it's control. And if your calendar always bends around her life, but hers never once bends around yours, you're not her priority, you're her backup plan. 3. She played the victim, but never took accountability. Have you ever apologized for something you didn't even do? Have you ever found yourself saying, I'm sorry, I just want to fix this, while she stood there, arms folded, teary-eyed, blaming you for a storm she started? Cassius had. It always started the same. A small disagreement, something ordinary. One night he asked why she had been texting her ex. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He simply asked. But suddenly, she was crying, not out of guilt, but out of offense. How could you not trust me? You know what I've been through. You're just like every other man who's broken me. Cassius backed down fast. He hated seeing her upset. He told himself she's hurt. She's been through a lot. She just needs to feel safe. So he apologized again. But here's what kept happening. Every time she messed up and it was her past's fault. Every time she acted cold or manipulative and it was just how she protects herself. Every time she ghosted him or broke a promise, it was her anxiety. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But she never tried to find that power. She found comfort in blame. Blaming her past. Blaming men. Blaming circumstances. And ultimately, blaming Cassius. And Cassius, he began to walk on eggshells. He second-guessed himself. He stopped bringing up his own needs, out of fear that he'd become the villain in her script. Let me ask you something raw, man to man. Have you ever loved someone so much you began losing pieces of yourself? Just to protect their brokenness? There's a dangerous trap in modern relationships. The belief that being a good man means fixing a woman, instead of holding her accountable. Cassius didn't want to be just another guy who hurt her, so he became the guy who hurt himself instead, in silence. But Marcus Aurelius never said, "Carry what isn't yours." He said, "Let no act be done without a purpose," and constantly apologizing for things you didn't do. That's not purpose. That's emotional slavery. If every argument ends with you as the villain, if her pain is always your fault and her actions are never her responsibility, brother, she's not looking for love. She's looking for someone to carry her blame. You deserve a partner, not a performance. Someone who can say, yes, that was my fault, and mean it. Because accountability isn't just a sign of maturity. It's the foundation of trust. And without trust, all you're building is a cage for your soul. 4. She kept you around but never let you all the way in. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt close but still completely alone? Where you knew what she liked, but not what she feared? Where she called you baby, but wouldn't let you meet her father, her sister, or even the real version of herself? Cassius knew that feeling too well. He was in her life, but only in certain rooms. He knew her coffee order by heart, knew which side of the bed she preferred. He knew how her voice changed when she was excited, and how she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. But every time he tried to go deeper, she shut the door. He'd ask, "What scares you the most?" What was your childhood really like? Where do you see us in 5 years? And every time she'd smile, dodge, change the subject, or say, let's not overthink things. Just enjoy the moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And her soul was guarded. Not cautious, not healing, but closed. She shared enough to make Cassius feel needed, but never enough to let him feel truly known. He met some of her friends, but only the ones she didn't care deeply about. She saw his family, but every time he asked to meet hers, it was not the right time. She'd let him touch her body, but never touch the parts of her spirit that were wounded, scared, or vulnerable. Let me ask you, have you ever loved someone who gave you 90% of themselves, but that last 10% always stayed locked away? And no matter how patient, kind, or devoted you were, that door never opened? Cassius started to feel like he was orbiting her, always close, never inside. He thought maybe if he gave more, she'd let him in. More time, more affection, more understanding. But the truth is, you can't knock on a door that someone never intended to open. She kept him around for comfort, for companionship, for the illusion of connection, but her heart was never on the table. And that's the trick, she made him feel special, without ever being vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. But there comes a time, brother, when you must reverse that. Because tolerating a one-sided emotional connection, where you pour in, and she withholds, is slow self-erasure. You deserve someone who meets you in the deep, who opens the locked doors, who sees your soul and says, here, take mine too. If she keeps you around but not within, she's not building a life with you. She's keeping you just close enough to never lose you, but far enough to never truly love you. Her presence was conditional on your validation. Have you ever felt like your love was only accepted when it came wrapped in compliments? It's like she stayed close when you admired her, but drifted away the moment you told her something real. Cassius lived that trap for far too long. In the beginning, it was effortless. He told her she was beautiful, she melted. He admired her creativity, and she posted about being seen for who she truly is. He called her his muse, and she kissed him like no one else existed. But the first time he said, I don't feel heard sometimes, the temperature changed. Her eyes narrowed. Her mood darkened. Suddenly, he was being dramatic. Suddenly, he was too sensitive. Suddenly, she needed space. Marcus Aurelius once said, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? She didn't explode. She withdrew. And that was her power. She didn't scream. She made him feel like he had just broken something sacred, and all he did was speak his truth. So what did Cassius do? He learned to perform, to say what she wanted to hear, to validate, flatter, affirm, even when it felt hollow. Because when he did that, she stayed. She laughed again. She touched his hand. She called him my person. But deep inside, he knew she didn't love him. She loved the version of him that made her feel like a goddess, unchallenged, unquestioned, untouched by accountability. Let me ask you, brother, have you ever shrunk yourself just to keep the peace? Ever held back your truth just so she wouldn't pull away? Because if your presence in her life depends on constant praise, that's not love. That's manipulation wearing lipstick. Marcus Aurelius taught us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Cassius forgot that. He traded truth for connection. And the worst part, he started to doubt his own reality. Was he too emotional? Was he asking for too much? Was he the problem? That's what happens when love becomes conditional, not on commitment, not on growth, but on validation. You become addicted to keeping her happy, even if it costs you yourself. If she only shows up when you're clapping for her, but vanishes when you ask her to see you, really see you, then your love isn't being shared, it's being leveraged. Love is not a stage where you're expected to perform endlessly. It's a mirror, where two people should see each other clearly and still say, I'm here, I'm staying. And if she walks away the moment you stop praising her, she was never staying for you. She was staying for the echo. 6, your gut screamed, but you silenced it. Did you ever know, deep down, that something wasn't right, but stayed anyway? You felt it, didn't you? Maybe it wasn't obvious. Maybe it wasn't dramatic, but something inside you ached. Cassius remembered the moment it hit him. It wasn't when she flirted with someone else. It wasn't when she canceled again. It was when he looked at her, really looked at her, and for a split second felt like he didn't belong there anymore. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But Cassius's thoughts were no longer peaceful. They were cluttered with confusion, restlessness, doubt. He started to feel anxious when her name lit up on his phone. He'd reread messages before sending them, terrified of saying the wrong thing. He began to pull back from his friends, his passions, and slowly from himself, and yet he stayed. Why? Because hope is seductive, because she used to make him feel alive, because maybe, just maybe, it would return. But that hope cost him his instinct. That little voice, that whisper of wisdom inside him, was being muffled every day. Let me ask you, have you ever silenced your own gut just so you could keep hearing her voice? That's what Cassius did. He ignored how often she lied, because she had trust issues. He looked past her coldness because she's under stress. He justified her disappearing, because maybe she just needs time. But what he was really doing was abandoning himself. And that's the most dangerous kind of betrayal. Not when she hurts you, but when you stop listening to the only part of you that never lies. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, never be afraid of what you feel. Fear only what you allow to control you. Cassius had allowed his fear of losing her to control everything. His thoughts, his energy, his choices. And still, he felt empty, because the truth is this. When your gut knows, it knows. You can argue with it, drown it in logic, numb it with distractions, but it keeps whispering, "This isn't love. This isn't peace. This is not where you belong." And when you finally listen, yes, it hurts. Yes, you'll grieve the illusion, but you'll start to feel something rare. Yourself returning. Cassius finally listened. He didn't get closure. He didn't get a goodbye speech. He got silence, and the same silence he'd lived with while she was still next to him. And for the first time in months, that silence felt like freedom. So I'll leave you with this, my brother. If your gut is screaming, stop whispering back. You are not crazy. You are not overthinking. You are waking up. And when you honor that voice inside, you'll walk away not with loss, but with power. Closing reflection. So many men stay in situations like this not because they're weak, but because they were taught that love means enduring pain, that being a man means fixing everything, even when you're the one breaking inside. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, didn't teach endurance without wisdom. He taught clarity, self-possession, emotional mastery. You don't prove your strength by staying with someone who's using you. You prove it by walking away, with your soul intact. If this story spoke to you even a little, don't ignore that whisper inside. Hit that subscribe button, like the video so more men can find this message. And most of all, watch it again if you need to remember who you are. The world needs more men who can love deeply, but won't tolerate disrespect. Who can give their heart, but won't hand it to someone who sees it as a game piece. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.